much do you kind of get the help, or not the help, but the guidance and the opinions of older players to kind of put things in perspective as your career unfolds?
You know, I play first base, and I try not to say much, but every now and then I'll ask guys some questions, especially the guys who I think that have been through things that I'm currently going through or about to go through, and I ask their opinion on things. And I've been lucky enough to have gotten some pretty good responses and some good approaches to handling the pressure and the attention and the accomplishments.
What's the best advice you think you've gotten so far?
You know, you have to be able to say no and protect yourself and maintain boundaries and really enjoy it for yourself, because if you don't, everyone else will enjoy it and they'll pull you in all kinds of different directions.
Is that going to be more difficult to maintain that because you did win the MVP, and there's going to be a lot of attention now wherever you go? It's Joey Votto MVP. Are you ready for that kind of attention, or have you even thought about that?
Well, I've already experienced quite a bit of it. I think it's just some of it, you know, just a minor adjustment as far as, like I mentioned before, establishing boundaries and protecting myself and making sure that, most importantly, I'm doing my job and concentrate on that. And that's probably the biggest advantage I have. You know, I can go to the ballpark every day, concentrate on my craft, try to improve, try to be a better Cincinnati Red, and help the team win. And that can take all of that distraction, all those distractions, all that negative energy, all that that tug and pull that you can feel sometimes from a lot of people, and you can shift that negative energy to something positive, and I like to use it on my job.
Talking to Bronson yesterday, he obviously signed a new deal. He said that he really likes, the reason he wanted to stay here was a routine freak, but he said he also likes the fact of what this team's doing, the young talent this team has, where it can go. You know, I know the Reds have started talking to your agent about, you know, preliminary talks. Well, that's what I read.
Who said that?
I read that with John Fay, actually.
What did John say?
Just said that Walt said that you guys, the agent and Walt have started preliminary conversations.
Okay.
So I'm wondering.
About what?
About your contract. A long-term contract. Is Cincinnati a place you'd like to stay?
They've started something on a long-term contract?
Talking about a contract.
Who said that?
Walt apparently talked to your agent, and they said they've had.
Well, there's a difference between talking about a long-term contract and a contract. Anybody can talk. They talked about it. They discussed a contract the other day by tendering me.
Yeah.
There you go. That's the contract talk right there. So, you know, I don't think it's fair, because I know that I'm going to get some questions about that. I don't think it's fair for people to say my agent and the general manager have discussed a long-term contract when the only thing that's come up is a contract, or we'd like to do something. You know, it could be 1 year, it could be 11 bajillion years. It doesn't really matter. The point is, there's been some sort of, you know, they want me on the team, and that's a compliment in and of itself. To be, you know, I know I won that MVP, but to, you know, to have a major league contract when it comes time, that's a huge compliment. I consider that an accomplishment. You know, when I came into the big leagues 3 years ago, I was just hoping to get to the point where at arbitration they were considering keeping me for the long term, because you now have to start paying guys realistic money or a little more challenging money. And so right now, I know I'm going off on a tangent, but I'm pretty proud of getting to this point in my career.
Actually, you went further than I was going to ask. I was just going to ask, is Cincinnati a place that you like and you can see yourself in the future?
I don't know. As far as beyond 3 years, I think that's a really unfair question to ask, because, and this is not me saying I don't want to be here, but, you know, last year was a difficult year for me, and this year was a better year for me. So it's really hard for me to think 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead, 7 years ahead, 10 years ahead. You know, when Tulowitzki signed that 10-year contract or whatever it was, I was blown away by it, because I can't imagine seeing myself 10 years from now and saying, you know, I want to be here. You know, it's just it's an overwhelming thing to ask a young person like myself and say, here's a lot of money, be happy with this over 10 years. You know, deal with it, because, you know, you don't know where you're going to be in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So I'm just really trying to, it's been difficult for me to stay in the moment over the last few months, because I've accomplished so much and a lot of things have been thrown my way. So for me to say, I want to extend past today is, you know, asking a lot of me. It's a really difficult thing to do, and that's why during the MVP, the questioning afterwards with the baseball writers, I made a point to, to say it's a lot to take in. I'm just trying to enjoy the moment and take some time, and you need perspective to get those answers. And I don't want to be peppered with contract talks because I don't have those answers right now. So,
with